Hey Campus Georgia, back in the man cave. I got me some goodies here that I'm looking at. Leather piece. Pretty thick. And best of all, a buck. Let's check it out. So like I said, I got me some leather, which I'm hoping is going to be enough. And this was sent to me with a bunch of other leather. You probably saw the mail call from Pennsylvania, Ken, and thought I'd put it to use. Hey, it's leather. Can always use leather. San Diego, swap meet. What did I find? Yep, this guy. It's a buck. Actually, a buck 103. See that? Look at that. Didn't know a lot about it, so I looked it up. If you look at the tang stamp, there's no other markings except buck 103 USA. There's no other markings on it. I went to Buck and I had a look at their aging chart. Pretty good. I'd seen one before, but it was missing something at the top, and I couldn't figure out where this guy came from, how old it was. Well, on the Buck site, it said this. Not bad. And you know what? It's in pretty good condition. A little bit of rusting on the blade here. Pretty clean on the other side. Handle looks good. All nice. A little scratchy in that, could do with a good polishing. In fact, we can polish the whole thing, get this rust off, clean it up, give it a little bit of an edge, a little bit chipped and whatever, but we can fix that, I'm pretty sure. And it's a solid blade. Look at that. The only thing I don't know, and I'm pretty sure it's not full tang. Piece on the back, which I'm hoping is going to polish up nice. I looked it up some more. What sheath can I make for it? Well, I found a 103. This is the sheath that comes with it. I'm out of ideas. I think I'm going to make one of those. Hopefully. Let's have at it. There you go. Might look a mess, but I think I know what I'm doing. Okay, so we got the buck. Not too much wrong here, not a lot of rust. Here's where all the rust is. So I'm going to put some rust remover on it. It's a rust dissolver. Not my first choice, but I'm waiting on my other stuff, which I much prefer for a couple of reasons. It's all natural products. You can reuse it and you can just toss it away when you're done. It's not going to affect the environment. Whereas these guys, not so much. I'm not a big fan of this. It turns the rust black. When I first used it, I panicked. But it cleaned them up, so can't complain there. Just don't want to leave it on there too long. I'm not seeing any rust anywhere else. I believe this might be aluminum, and these, so it may not rust. But I'm not sure. So we'll leave that for a couple of minutes. While that's sitting there unrusting itself, I have this piece of leather, and it's pretty thick. Not what I was hoping to get. I actually ordered the wrong, it's too thick for me. But as it turns out, this buck is a skinner, okay? So it's a hunting knife, pretty sturdy. So I think sturdy sheath would suit it well. Here's the thing. This is all I have. And having measured everything, I think I can do it by cutting this up in one piece and having it all go together without separate pieces here. And if you saw the picture, it has a big holding place across the handle, got a gap where the guard sits, and it's pretty cool. It's unusual. Even the snap is off center. I couldn't see the belt strap, and I thought, you know what, this is long enough up here that I have up here, where if I fold this over and stitch it on the bottom, I can do it all in one piece. So here's hoping. Okay, wow. That really cleaned up. Look at that. It's all gone. Ha! So I looked it up, and the steel that they're using on these is 420 high carbon, HC. So I looked it up. That's on the newer ones. I'm assuming the same here. Give it a light rub here. Wow. Almost don't even need to polish this thing. The other thing I looked up was the handle material, and it's this stuff here. And the reason they use it is high heat resistance is what they said. So I was worried about that if I polished this using my Dremel, if it would melt. They're saying, no, it's really solid and heat resistant. So that's a cool thing. I'm be able to polish this up because it's a little scratchy and I want to clean it up. So there you go. Let's do that. Okay, I washed all the goop off. It actually cleaned up very nice. I'm surprised how well this cleaned up. Look at this. I haven't done anything to it. Huh. There's not even that many scratches on it. A little bit of stuff down here we need to clean up, but see if we can polish this stuff up. I want to try a little, I've got to clean this. I'm going to try a little bit of glitz on here because I don't think I need any more than that. Man, this thing's going to shine. Huh. I really don't, the sharpening is a little iffy, especially up top here where they use it the most. You can see they try to sharpen it. Not very good though. Look at that. Maybe I'll put it on my sharpening machine and we'll clean that up to get a more even grind on it there. I think I'm just going to use the glitz on here. I wonder if it'll work on this. Brightened it up, but it doesn't really get rid of the scratches and that. Ew, look at that side. That's ugly. Somebody tried to do something there. Huh. I might just have to. It's kind of dull, isn't it? Look at that. Well, I hit it with some glitz and it cleaned it up nicely, got rid of that dull look to it. Huh, maybe I'll do that. Not sure what I want to use on this. I'm going to try the glitz on here as well. Might need a little bit more than that though. Here's the other side, and here's where I hit it with glitz. It has brightened it a lot. Look at that. But it's still kind of scratchy, and I'm wondering if I should just get some rubbing compound onto this and just the glitz on here. The glitz does fine on the actual handle. That's, here you can see. It actually cleans it up nicely. I'm going to try that on the handle with my Dremel and a polishing compound. polishes it up, but it's not getting rid of those marks. Thinking about it now, I think it might be manufacturing marks, but I'm going to keep doing it with this. Forgot to charge my Dremel battery. So while that's charging, let's have a look at the leather. So I've got it all marked out here. I'm going to cut it out, and then I'm going to need to do some stuff like gouge out the center line here for the fold and that sort of thing. It's really thick leather. To try and fold it, you see you get that bulge. So if you put a little trench in here, it folds better. Let's cut it out. Whew, this leather is thick. But my blade is sharp, which is a good thing. So I've cut out the basics. I hope it's right. And here is the tool I'm going to use, which I call the gouger outer. I don't know what it's called, but it's used to gouge out a trough in your leather. If you watch here, it's sharp on the inside there. And if I drag this across, it cuts out a little trench, he says. And this is going to have to be a deep one, so it's going to take a bit. And now I can fold the leather a lot tighter. See how you've taken out that extra so it folds flat. Put my knife in, fold it over. Ooh, it's going to be tight. It's going to be very tight. And now I need to put a guard along here to protect the leather from the blade. So now this piece goes in there, and the knife sits in there. Well, in there. It's going to cut it off a bit. And then this takes all the brunt of the blade. So now I've got to glue this in, fold this over and glue it all together. I need a piece for there. I need to fill that in, so I'm going to... We'll let that set quickly. You can see I've got the guard in there, and the knife will sit in right there. And this protects your stitching along here. I'm going with black dye, the black handle. That's original. We let that dry. This is looking a lot better. A lot shinier. It was kind of dull before. I'm going to put glitz on everything as well. Okay, there you go. This is actually a nice knife. Cleans up nicely. The handle's not perfect, but it's scratched. I don't know what scratched it though. I think just general use. And then of course you can see looks like I sharpened it, right? But we need to get a nice even grind on there and get this fixed up. It's a little beat up. So we'll have to do that right after we finish the sheath. This leather actually turned out nice, and I put a lot on here. Just want to rub off the excess. Actually turned out looking very nice. It's actually nice and shiny. Have a bit of lanyard here. I'm not sure I'm going to use it. There is no lanyard hole on the knife, so it's going to be on the sheath if I have room. Now punch the holes here, and we want to stitch this over there before we close everything up, because we won't be able to reach it if we glue it all together and stitch the actual sheath. I want to show you something here. Can you see I punched the holes here, but there's an extra hole there and an extra hole outside of the strap. You see that? I like to stitch through there on the outside. Always have a stitch on the outside going through. For some reason I found that it stops this from wobbling, no matter how tight you make it. So that's why I always put that excess one in. Gonna drill it now using my Dremel. The reason I like to use the Dremel is I found that when I was punching, if you don't hold your punch exactly vertical and you punch this way and then the next one's straight and then you're a little off, the stitching on the other side isn't straight. So using the Dremel to drill keeps it nice and vertical. I use a bit of backing there. Although there's a hole I can drill into, I like to use a wood backing just because. Not a big deal to do the stitching on it. You don't have to lock it in or anything, so hopefully it'll come out nice. So now we can do the rest. So now we have to line this all up. Alright, now we're going to make our stitch line. I'm going to use a tool here that I don't think I've shown you. And that is this guy. And what this allows you to do is make it consistent, the line down the side. By dragging it down the side here, I can choose how far I want to go in or less. You tighten it down and you can drag it down and you get a nice cut line that's even to the side. So that's what I'm just like this. And now I have my stitch line. I'll fold this over, line this up, and there's my stitch line. I want to make sure it's going to be in everything. Lines up nicely. Alright. Same thing across the bottom here. I'm still deciding, do I want a square or do I want it to come around? I think I want to make it square. How far down do I want it? My stitch line's gonna be, I'm gonna say right there. Like that. Now I gotta glue it. Glue it down, hold it in there, let the glue sit, mark the holes and drill them. Well, clamping it down was a good idea, but now I have these marks. I don't know how to get rid of those. I'm hoping they'll go away on their own. Look at the marks on there. I'm really miffed about that. Huh. Hope they come out. Ooh. Okay, I'm at the end here. I need to trim this off so that I can put a stitch around the end here. So I'm just going to take this out. Just hoping it fits. Ooh. Oh, look at that. Look at that. First aid kit always close by. On my medications, gotta have that. You can see now that the edge, I went over it with the sharpener, and the edge is a lot more consistent, especially here. It's really sharp on this curve, which is where you want it. So there you are, campers. My Buck 103 Skinner from a swap meet. Woo! Very proud of myself on that one. It cleaned up really nice. Here it is in the sheath, and you can see I put a buffalo thing on it. I need to tighten that up a little bit more, but it's got a buffalo on it there. Kind of copied their original. I think their one curves. I didn't want to make it exactly the same. I just took their idea. Theirs is deeper here, and of course I didn't get it exact, so there's a little bit showing. Fortunately, it's not the sharp end, so there's nothing sharp there. My stitching is improving. So the Dremel helps a lot. It really did. And of course it just has the fold over loop, and here it is here. You saw me clean it up. I've got to just get all this goop off that's on it. And you saw I sharpened it, just so that you know. I never learn. So just want to get all the fingerprints off so you can have a look-see. Now I will say this end here really cleaned up nicely. It was very dull, and all I did was I hit it with some polish and then some glitz afterwards, just like I did with the blade. You can see how the blade cleaned up nicely. It's really looking very nice now. And of course I hit it with my new sharpening system, put a real consistent edge on there. I actually started with 630 grit, I think. No, 360. I wouldn't normally do that. I would maybe start at 800 and go to 2000. But it had some chips in it. And I wanted to get rid of that because if you look at the up top here, you can see still some of the marks from the previous sharpening. And it must have been a sharpening stone or something. And it was chipped there. So I had to get rid of the chips. So I used the heavier grit for that. Then I went to 800, literally 5 sweeps. And then I went to 2000 and did about 10 sweeps each. Got rid of the little curl on it. Didn't even strop or anything. And you saw it cuts just fine. I know it's really like this. Came out very nice. And the shock and horror, this knife is going to go to a friend. A very good friend who's been very helpful. And I'm going to send it to him. I'm sure he could put it to good use, whatever he decides to do with it. So, owe him a lot, taught me a lot. He's been a good friend and helped me out whenever I need help. He's been there to point me in the right direction. So there you go. You all be safe out there, especially with them sharp and shinies. I keep a first aid kit here in the shop by my bench all the time. For me, it's a little bit more important. I take blood thinners for my heart issues and that sort of thing. So a cut for me can get a little messy. So please be careful when you're doing this stuff. They're sharp. That's why we call them sharp and shinies. This one's shiny and it's sharp. Just say. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe. You know the story. Pretty sure I'll be back. I got lots and lots to do. So there's some other projects. There's one project I've been working on for months. It's a walking stick. I got to get that done. Thanks for watching. always appreciated. And we'll see you again soon.